So keeping in mind that we are talking about digital transformation of NBFCs, and here we have stalwarts in their domain. Just to give context, I was trying to research and figure out what is the quantum of spends that are happening globally around digital transformation in the BFSI segment alone. So somewhere I read numbers that, these big fours always give out, that digital transformation spends in BFSI itself is somewhere around $60 to $70 billion globally today. But that number will become 250 to 300 billion over the next 5 years. And then I read an interesting article, since we are all in the AI world today, that the financial industry is staring at a $10 trillion transformation. If AI-powered finance was just the appetizer, agentic AI is the main course. So keeping that context in mind, just to also give you some, what happened in 2024, and that will lead me into my questions to our panelists. So certain trends we saw in 2024 around this transformation, digital transformation that's happening. Embedded finance came to the forefront. Open banking gained momentum, where a lot of API services were being used. AI and big data also became hot topics of conversation, where, for instance, AI-powered chatbots handled over 70% of customer queries. Then InsurTech, which you must have heard from the previous panel itself, is being revolutionized. IRDA's data indicated a 20% increase in digital insurance adoption, and the rise of decentralized finance. So these were some of the 2024 trends. But I would like to, start this discussion around, so I'll ask Prashant, who comes from Shri Capital, in terms of just give us an idea of what kind of business use cases were you solving for in the recent past, where you had digital transformation technologies that you were using, if you could give some flavor around that.
Thank you, madam. And thanks, IBEX, for inviting first. I think mic is on. So we saw a trend where, as you rightly mentioned, the collaboration has played a major role, API and all the microservices specifically. So Shriram always known for their traditional business, where we feel we always put customer touch on as our top priority. And we always like to know our customer by his name rather than a digital number. Okay. But when we saw the competitors coming into the market, and those competitors are not traditional competitors for us. Those are the fintechs and startups who started competing with us. Okay, where traditionally we found the nature of business we never had any competitor, but startup and fintechs. So we also thought that we also need to have our digital avatar, So what we have done is that we are not changed our traditional model, okay, because that is a key for digital transformation. At the same time, we can say we came with Shriram 2.0 as our digital avatar, and rather than patching any digital solutions or any innovations or any technology to our existing products, we thought of developing digital products by itself. Because when you talk about digital transformation, the end-to-end journey has to be a seamless journey. So we have developed our super app. Okay, Shriram 1 is the super app what you developed. And we designed our product, we redesigned our certain products to ensure that end-to-end journey can happen on that digital journey. And we are proud to say that we already have around 1.5 crores downloads in last 1 year on app. And what we have done is that, being an NBFC, what should be the reason for that customer to stay on my mobile app? We want his screen time to be increased to use my mobile app, because being an NBFC, once he takes his loan and pays his EMI, he doesn't have any other activity to do on my mobile phone. So we went into collaborative mode, where we provided a lot of utility services to him, where he can pay his all electricity bill, any other BBPS payment, any other utility payments he can do, including small things like he can play the games also on the mobile phone. So that application has to become relevant for him, so that he use it regularly. And then for me, doing my cross-selling and upselling becomes easy when his use time increases. Okay, so that is the way we follow, where rather than disturbing my existing journey, we totally invented a digital product journey so that it becomes easy for us, and we can, address the new customers where we have got merged within our company, and we have two-wheeler finance, gold loan, where, Gen Z kind of people are our customer, rather than traditionally we serve to the truck drivers and senior citizens as our customer.
Nice, interesting. So you're basically trying to increase your customer cohort by adopting a digital journey as well in addition to your traditional journey. So Jyoti, just to kind of get to, you into this discussion, you guys launched Flexi Loan product. So can give us some context in terms of the solutioning or the idea behind when you were launching the Flexi Loan product. This would be a new, different type of market segment you were addressing. What was the kind of technology challenges you may have faced, and how did you use technology to actually launch a Flexi Loan product? I'm sure there must have been challenges within that itself.
So, good evening all. First of all, in Godrej Capital, so we are a kind of digital first company. See, I really don't have to deal with the traditional and then transforming it to digital and all. So the way we launched was always, we are actually born in the cloud organization, and all the processes, all the business processes are enhanced with the kind of digital capabilities we are having. So to your previous question, I'll just take the liberty to answer the previous question also. Over past 1-2 years, what the trend I'm seeing is like technology is not working in silos. It's always trying to solve the bigger business problem. So like it's like earlier what used to happen, I think I don't know how many people are there from technology side here. So we used to get the requirement document and we do some kind of do the impact analysis, testing and all those things. Now slowly the transformation that I'm seeing is technology is taking part in the strategy meetings, and they are saying that okay, this is a digital capability, it is available, and this is how we can do. So that transformation is really visible past few years, and coming to that APIs and the power of the integrations that we can come up with, actually we are enhancing all the business processes. To come to answer the question of the Flexi loans, this is exactly what we have done. So Flexi loan product was not a kind of conceptualized by the business. It's a kind of it's co-owned by business and technology. For example, as a technology leader, I am doing the design of the entire process. I am having the target of the numbers also. Like I have to ensure that okay, it is getting used and this much revenue has to be coming. That means what? Any downtime in that complete design, it's directly hitting my KRA. So KRA is not the delivery. KRA is the delivering to the customers and creating the business value. So that is how we have done. The technology challenges are any technology challenge, because when you are trying to do something which is actually an industry first solution, the first issue will be you have to handle the resistance, whether it will work or not, and whether it is a moonshot or actually medium term you are having anything, and if it fails, what are the backups and all, because a huge money is involved in that one. So the design approach that we have taken, as I said, it is not designed by one person in that. So we have come up with a project group, and all the business processes were designed as per that, and we have done the time motion study of the existing process so that the complete TAT and other requirements will be met in this process and all. So of course the technology is coming up with the API integrations. We have done I think I can number some around 52 APIs integration we have done the entire journey. It itself has a challenge of interface going down, interface hanging and all those things. So all those things we have handled through the platform approach.
That gives me a good segue into my next question. Just for the audience, I'm just going to do a quick poll. How many of you have faced a call that you think is a scam call or a cyber fraud, or you've received a message? I mean, just a quick, see. That's okay. More and more hands are going up, so it's almost 100%, yes. So, Sujit, I mean, you do a lot of solutioning for, cyber security and fraud, but I'll just put out some, stats here. with ClarityX as a company that I have founded, which is an AI-driven data analytics firm, I'm all about data, right? So you'll see me quoting some stats here and there. But apparently, financial crime costs institutions over $4 trillion annually. Traditional fraud detection is too slow. And cybersecurity itself, so this was an assessment done by Gartner in the US, so we can assume that there is some impact also in India as well. But nearly 60% of BFSI companies with more than $5 billion in assets experienced various types of cyber attacks. So in that context, Sujit, please give us some views of how you are solutioning and helping NBFCs solve for this. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. एक्चुअली आज के टाइम में जितने भी टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनियां हैं, यहाँ भी टेक्नोलॉजी वाले लोग भी होंगे, कि दे कैन फोकसिंग ऑन रेवेन्यू मॉडल ओनली. अभी हम लोग जो इस पैटर्न पे काम कर रहे हैं, वहाँ पे हम लोग एक इकोसिस्टम डेवलप कर रहे हैं. वी कैन डेवलपिंग ए इकोसिस्टम फॉर द फिनटेक, बैंकिंग एंड एनबीएफसी. वी कैन प्रोटेक्ट द थिंग्स. जितने भी हैकर हैं या जितने भी मतलब कि एप्लीकेशन, डुप्लीकेट एप्लीकेशन आ जाते हैं, वहाँ से कोई लोन के लिए अप्लाई करता है, दे कैन कैच ऑन डेटा जो शेयर हो रहे हैं. तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं कि जो फ्रॉडस्टर हैं, दे हैव मोर टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवेन कंपेयर टू एनबीएफसी बैंक. अभी तक का जो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है, मैं वही बोलूँगा. उनके ईवाई में आपको 1% भी फर्क नहीं आएगा. उनका ईवाई अच्छा होगा. उनका पेज एक बार क्लिक करेंगे, दे हैव ओपन हो जाता है, पेज ओपन हो जाता है. लुक फील एकदम सेम लाइक होता है कि आप डिफरेंस नहीं कर पाते हैं कि क्या है. तो वी कैन से कि दे आर मोर आरटी इनेबल कंपेयर टू अस. तो वी आर डूइंग सेम थिंग कि वो चीज़ें हम लोग कैसे ब्लीच करें, कैसे रोकें. उसके लिए हम लोग BPRD, I4C के साथ इंटरनली चीज़ें हम लोग कर रहे हैं कि हाउ कैन स्टॉप दिस थिंग्स. और उसके लिए बहुत सारे पैरामीटर, वी कैन फिक्स द पैरामीटर कि अगर कोई चीज़ें इस तरह की हो रही है तो वो हम पहले इंटीमेट करें. अभी तक जितने भी टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनियां हैं, रेगुलेटरी हैं, उन्होंने जो अभी सिस्टम डेवलप किए हैं या जो भी हो रहे हैं, वो केवल डिटेक्शन तक है कि कोई भी हमारे साथ फ्रॉड हो गया तो इट विल डिटेक्ट कि ये फ्रॉड है. उसके बाद अकाउंट लीन होते हैं, मार्क होते हैं, डेट इज ओके. लेकिन सोल्यूशन हम लोग जो अभी डेवलप कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं कि प्रिवेंट कर रहे हैं. अगर आपके अकाउंट से कोई भी ट्रांजेक्शन हैपन होने वाला है और ये माइट पे भी फ्रॉडस्टर है, तो उसको हम लोग पहले रोकने के लिए वी आर वर्किंग ऑन दैट टूल. तो उससे क्या होगा कि आगे हर किसी की प्रोफाइलिंग होती है. अब इस पर एक प्रोफाइलिंग वर्ड आती है, प्रोफाइलिंग. हर किसी की सारे NBFC हैं तो डेफिनेटली सबको पता होगा कि जो प्रोफाइलिंग आती है, सबकी एक यूज़र की प्रोफाइल होती है. वैसे फ्रॉडस्टर की भी प्रोफाइल होती है. ये NPCI ने भी एक्सेप्ट किया है, RBI ने भी किया है, I4C ने भी किया है और BPRD ने भी किया हुआ है. तो हम लोग उस प्रोफाइलिंग पे काम कर रहे हैं कि हर किसी की जो कुंडली बोलते हैं ना, तो हम कुंडली निकाल रहे हैं और उस कुंडली को वी कैन मैच विथ आवर AI एंड हाइपर लेजर टेक्नोलॉजी में जो हम लोगों ने प्राइवेट ब्लॉकचेन में जो एप्लीकेशन बनाई है, उससे मैच करके कि वो डेटा कहीं भी एक भी ट्रांजेक्शन होगा, अगर उसका फ्रॉड में होगा तो वी कैन फ्लैग एज ए फ्रॉडस्टर. तो उस केस में जो भी आप UPI ऐप यूज़ करते हैं, मोस्टली ट्रांजेक्शन आज जितने भी फ्रॉड हो रहे हैं उसमें UPI का सबसे बड़ा फिगर जो UPI का है, वो हमें कम करना है. और उस पर हमारा फोकस इसलिए आया UPI को पहले रोकने के लिए कि हमारे जो प्रधानमंत्री सर हैं और फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री है, RBI है, NPCI है, दे आर प्रमोटिंग UPI ग्लोबली. और हम भी यही चाहते हैं कि UPI जो है वो ग्लोबली एक्सेप्टेंस हो. तो उसके लिए पहले जो इंडिया में जितने भी फ्रॉड हो रहे हैं उसको हमें 60 to 70% मिनिमाइज करना पड़ेगा. 100% तो नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन 60 to 70% वी ट्राई टू डिक्रीज. उसके लिए हम लोगों ने सोल्यूशन डिज़ाइन किया कि हम लोगों ने 2-3 कंट्री से जब बात करी तो उन्होंने बोला कि आपके न्यूज़पेपर में, आपके चैनल वाले दिखाते रहते हैं UPI में ये हो रहा है, वो फ्रॉड हो गया, वो फ्रॉड हो गया. तो हाउ कैन एक्सेप्ट योर UPI सिस्टम टू आवर कंट्री कि यहाँ पे भी तो सेम थिंग होगी, तो हाउ कैन स्टॉप दिस. तो उसके लिए हमारी टीम डेवलप कर रही है कि हम कैसे उस फ्रॉड को मैनेज कर सकते हैं, प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं, और जितने भी फिनटेक और बैंकिंग इकोसिस्टम है उसको हम लोग हेल्दी कर सकते हैं. तो उसके लिए बहुत सारे पैरामीटर हैं, लोगों को भी अवेयर होना पड़ेगा. और एक कॉमन प्रोफाइलिंग करनी पड़ेगी हर किसी की, जिस पे हम लोग इंटरनली रेगुलेटरी से बात कर रहे हैं कि इफ़ दे माइट एग्री तो प्रोफाइलिंग हम लोग पब्लिकली लॉन्च करेंगे। तो इससे हम लोग बहुत जो भी NBFC में जो भी फ्रॉड हो रहे हैं, बैंकिंग में हो रहे हैं, उसको हम लोग 60 to 70% वी कैन डिक्रीज ऑन डेट बेसिस। और इसमें साइबर अवेयरनेस के लिए हम लोग VPRD के साथ मिलकर अभी हमारे राजस्थान में हम लोगों ने एक यात्रा शुरू की है, तो वो हम लोग कर रहे हैं। तो वैसे लोगों को अवेयर करना पड़ेगा कि कौन सा कॉल का रिप्लाई करना है, कौन सा लिंक का रिप्लाई करना है, कौन से OTP हमें शेयर करनी है, नहीं करनी है। तो फाइनेंशियल अवेयरनेस भी ज़रूरी है, जिसमें जो हमारी रेगुलेटरी है RBI टाइम टू टाइम करते रहते हैं। और लॉट ऑफ मतलब कि बहुत सारे बजट है जो एक्सपेंड हो रहा है उस पर, लेकिन हमें इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे और मैम का है बजाज कैपिटल भी कर रहा है, श्री राम फाइनेंस भी अपने लेवल पे सब लोग कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं। और हम भी चाहते हैं कि इंडिया का जो फ्रॉड है वो रुके, और उसके लिए जिसका भी कंट्रीब्यूशन बनता है, हम किसी पे एक पे डिपेंडेंट नहीं हो सके कि रेगुलेटरी बॉडी है दे कैन लाइबल टू स्टॉप द फ्रॉड और स्टॉप द दिस टाइप ऑफ एक्टिविटी। एवरी पर्सन हु कैन लिव इन इंडिया they have responsibility to stop fraud and they make payment ecosystem healthy. Thank you.
Thanks. Ajay, if you can, add to this, because being in the education loan space, profiling becomes very difficult because your end customer is actually a person who, the loan you're giving to the parents, and the end customer is the student who is going somewhere and studying. So is there any concerns or challenges that you had faced in that from a security perspective or a fraud perspective that you want to highlight?
Yeah, if I can share some of the generic examples that we had encountered, I think it revolves around impersonation for sure, but more importantly, like Credila's core business has been to fund students for their studies overseas. So once they are out of our country, then getting those data sets together and being able to analyze not just for fraud detection, but we used to take one step beyond, which is to be able to track them and identify their current locations and where they are now for our recovery purposes and collection purposes. So there, based on our understanding, since our target segment was Gen Z, the younger generation, their digital footprints on the social media, I think that was the game changer for us. We picked up a lot of insights from there to the extent where we could reach out to somebody who had posted that I am watching this movie now and I am at this location, who was not being traceable. So I think digital tools, when it gets coupled with the social media presence, those footprints, after we connect the dots, bring in a picture which I think can probably lead to preempt some of the potential frauds or skip cases which might come across in the lending business.
Yeah, that's a very interesting viewpoint, because now so much digital footprint is there. So it's easy to, it's a lot more data is, out there now, but to extract insights and understand social scores that are being built, which a lot of the NBFCs and BFSI segments are using to do location profiling as well. But Prashant, if you can, I think this whole conference and a lot of conferences that are going on are all talking about AI. But what other technologies do you think that are more you are focusing on implementing, whether it's from the cloud perspective or edge perspective, to solve for your business use cases, but more in terms of just to understand how are you adopting and making your firm agile enough to ingest all these different technology changes that might be happening in the world?
I'll just try to answer this in two things. One is that we are not in hurry to adopt the technology, or we are not in hurry to, first to market or fast to market. Okay? We would like to learn the technology. We want to be ahead at the technology, because if we don't, then there are bad actors sitting in the market who will adopt, and they might misuse rather than using for something, they might misuse for us. So first thing, like a pandemic, like as I told, my customer base, the flavor of my customers are totally different. We are in a used commercial vehicle finance business where my customers are truck drivers. Okay? So most of my technologies though a lot of things are on mobile, we also thought about featured flow, something how with the OTP based technology, how we can bring so it becomes effective for me. And then second, we understood that senior citizens are my customer who take deposits with us, most of my customers. So during pandemic itself, we thought that how we can adopt a certain technology which will benefit them. So we adopted a blockchain technology during that. So what we have done, everything was going in a paperless, touchless, everything that was the mandate that time. And we wanted to have, my customer wanted to have a deposit certificate with them. Okay. And during pandemic, I could see that one of my teammate had got COVID and he shared his COVID certificate with me. And I got surprised that that COVID certificates were issued through blockchain. Okay, then that suddenly struck us that, oh, if somebody can give COVID certificate in such a short span, why can't we give our deposit certificate in blockchain?
Nice.
Okay, so we just done a deep dive, we understood how this happens, and within a short span, I'll say 3 to 6 months, we issued our first deposit certificate in blockchain, where people were eager to understand what is blockchain, how people are using it, and our customer senior citizens are comfortable that we have protected their certificate with blockchain and it is getting delivered in the mode, the channel they want. Okay, and that giving a kind of a customer experience for me. So we adopted a technology which will improve my customer experience, the security part of this thing, and that is how we adopted blockchain. And today, last 2 years, we have issued more than 1 million deposit certificates using blockchain. Second technology, what we are trying to adopt is AI specifically, because as I told that we also ventured into another avatar, Sriram 2.0, where we launched our super app. Okay, there we are adopting technology where we want, as the mobile application, the downloads have increased. Okay, we want to analyze, as he was mentioning, user activities and user behaviors mostly, where my application should not become a source of attack for someone. Though we are protecting my application, in most of the way we are protected that it will not get installed on some rooted mobile, compromised mobile. At the same time, we are ensuring that with the use of AI, that my application should not become a launching platform or source of attack for someone. Okay? Though all this, onboarding, your credit underwriting, so all those things are happening with the use of AI only. But the major action we have taken on that, how we can avoid become a source of attack. And I don't know whether I can say the future technology which I am more worried about today, if you ask me, I will name quantum computers is something I'm excited as well as fear also about that, because what I feel is that the way, at the speed and the accuracy, what quantum computer will do is definitely going to be a lot of business advantage for me, like market predictions, faster complex calculation, your underwriting, fraud detection, everything will be faster. But at the same time, when you think about the speed at which quantum computer will work, that also going to become an issue for me for my security controls.
Right.
Okay. That also going to improve, users, the bad actors' life, where they can break my control at the faster speed.
Right.
So I am more worried and excited of the quantum computing, but definitely we'll adopt that, because all your AI, everything will effectively will sit on the quantum computing and they will act on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, so you are actually adopting, some of the newer technologies that are out there, and it's good to hear how you are using it and implementing it from your perspective. So Jyothi, just to come back to you, so actually adopting AI or any kind of technology, because everyone else is doing it, as Prashant mentioned, is not the right approach, right? You obviously look at it from the perspective of what your organization and what are your business mandates, right? So there was a stat around this where BCG had done a study where they said that 70% of all digital transformation initiatives fail despite it being high on the CXO agenda. So while we are doing many experiments, sometimes there are products that we wanted to launch or operational ease that we wanted to do, we didn't see the success. So any kind of anecdote or any kind of experience that you would like to share that it's not always hunky-dory?
So your question itself is having the answer. When you are driving it as a CXO agenda, be it CTO, CIO, CBO or whatever, it is not going to happen. It has to be an organization agenda, and finally, what is this technology's business value? What is it technology delivering that business value? If you're not calculating that and then everyone is not onboarded on that particular thing, that ownership is not going to come. It will just become a technology project. That's why even if you take AI projects, if the 17 things are there in POC, only 2 to 3 things are going to production, especially in Gen A. So why is it? Because when you are starting that one, you don't know clearly the path, where you want to go. If it works, what is that one that it is going to solve? And what is a moonshot in that? So if you are not calculating or if you are not actually planning that one, most of the things are going to be remaining in the POC stage because you are not gaining the confidence of putting that in production. So that is a reason for not seeing so many production use cases. In Godrej Capital, we have done a lot of innovation. I think he was also mentioning the scorecards and all those things are having AI and ML. So that is a kind of has become hygiene. So that is because we clearly know how do I define my customer, because I think to his point also, how do I segment the customer in a better way and what is the risk and all. So that technology and that thought process evolved. So that's why you see many scorecards are not failing now, because it will learn on its own, and then maybe I think it is not a failure as such. Because everyone knows what is the end result that we want to see. Similarly, if you see last 2024, your AI, Gen AI has become a kind of mantra everywhere, right? So now it was AI, now we are slowly moving it to Gen AI. Now it is going to be agentic AI 2025, and slowly it is going to physical AI. So that is what is the path if you see. So now we are in a cusp of Gen AI, which is actually a kind of generating, and then maybe I think it is coming to the APIs, and you are just enhancing all your digital processes with these journeys. Now slowly it is moving to agentic AI, where we are just seeing what is a credit agent and what is a credit underwriting agent, what is a sales agent, what is a call center agent and all. That agentic AI, and slowly we are seeing the transformation towards the physical AI, where that physical AI you can embed the chip and then control it digitally so that it can solve the problem of that one. So it is a journey. As I said, I think process has to be evaluated, fail fast. You can't be there in the POC forever. You have to fail fast and take the call and then move on to the production.
No, absolutely. I mean, over the past 1 year, when I look at all the kind of BFSI use cases that we have been also doing POCs for, eventually it's all about, can you quickly tell me what is the result, right? So that I can then take an action whether I need to go ahead with it or not go ahead with it or deep dive. So Sujit, actually back to you, because you also, work with a lot of NBFCs and BFSI customers. So what kind of, challenges came up over, the last year or so that you found that technology needs a lot more improvement before it's accepted by, the end customer in the BFSI segment?
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, most of customers have technology, but they are in traditional way, and they are doing. But when we are go to digitize, we need to come with your mobile app, website, or portal, something like that. So in this coming year, many of NBFC, cooperative, RRB come to mobile banking, internet banking, CBS also, and many of the NBFC come to launch mobile application for the lending, for portal for the easy reachable for the any they can upload their document and get the approval from the backend side. So अभी तक का बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो इन सब से दूर हैं। 2-3 चीज़ें हैं जिसको हमें फॉलो करना चाहिए। एजुकेट, लोगों को हमें एजुकेट करना पड़ेगा कि कहाँ पे डॉक्यूमेंट अपलोड करने हैं, कहाँ पे नहीं करने हैं। हम डिजिटाइज हो रहे हैं, लेकिन डिजिटाइज के साथ वी कैन कम अप विद द रिस्क फैक्टर ऑल्सो। तो वो हम लोग जो काम कर रहे हैं, टीम जो काम कर रही है, और भी जितने भी इकोसिस्टम में लोग फाइनेंशियल इकोसिस्टम को हेल्दी बनाने के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, सबसे मेरी रिक्वेस्ट यही रहेगी कि यू आर फोकस ऑन बिल्डिंग हेल्दी इकोसिस्टम फॉर द एनी डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर। तो उससे हम लोग बहुत सारे फ्रॉड को रोक सकते हैं और उसको मिनिमाइज कर सकते हैं। हमारा भी विजन वही है कि हम लोग जो भी टेक डेवलप करें, किसी भी वो आरआरबी हो, कोऑपरेटिव हो, एनबीएफसी हो, वहाँ पे कुछ चीज़ें हमें सजेस्ट करनी पड़ती है। इफ़ यू आर इन एक्सपर्ट इन योर फील्ड, यू कैन सजेस्ट, गिव एडवाइजरी कंसल्टिंग टू योर क्लाइंट कि आपको ये चीज़ करना चाहिए, ये चीज़ नहीं करना चाहिए। वो पहला प्रायोरिटी होना चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे सेल करना है इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ। दिस इज नॉट ए सेल। एडवाइजरी इसलिए कि अगर हम लोग किसी कोऑपरेटिव के साथ बात करते हैं तो उनको कुछ भी पता नहीं है कि क्या क्या टेक्नोलॉजी होती है, क्या क्या टेक्नोलॉजी वी कैन ऑफर टू आवर कस्टमर। तो वहाँ पे उस टेक्नोलॉजी को लाने के लिए समवन हु कैन गाइड अस, हेल्प अस। हमारे पेरेंट्स भी करते हैं, हमारे मेंटर भी करते हैं। जब हम स्कूल में, छोटा एग्जांपल लेते हैं, जब हमें स्कूलिंग के बाद हम लोग जब आते हैं कि मुझे इंजीनियरिंग करनी है, मेडिकल करनी है, क्या करनी है, तो वी कैन गो टू मेंटर। तो इन दैट वे ऑल्सो कि हमें भी अगर कोई डिजिटाइज होना है, कुछ चीज़ें करनी है, तो वी कैन गो टू द कंसल्टिंग फॉर्म। ऐसा नहीं कि बड़े फॉर्म के पास ही जाना है। मैनी एनबीएफसी, स्मॉल फिनटेक इज देयर, कंसल्टिंग फॉर्म इज देयर, दे कैन ड्राइव ए गुड वे।
परफेक्ट।
तो वो चीज़ें हैं। तो आगे चीज़ें अगर पैरेलली हम लोग ग्रो करेंगे और उसको इकोसिस्टम को फोकस करके करेंगे। अभी बहुत सारी कंपनियां केवल 2-3 यूज़ केस है, मैं नाम डिस्क्लोज तो नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन यूज़ केस ऐसा है कि उनके पास आरआरबी के पास अपना खुद का स्विच का अप्रूवल नहीं है फ्रॉम द आरबीआई, एंड कंपनी हैज़ कोटेड टू एटीएम मशीन। तो वो चीज़ें होनी चाहिए कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आप इकोसिस्टम के लिए काम कर रहे हैं। तो एटीएम अगर मुझे लगाना है तो एटीएम के लिए सर्टिफिकेशन पहले अप्रूवल आना चाहिए आरबीआई से।
Sure. Yeah.
दैट थिंग। थैंक यू।
Uh,
एनीथिंग?
No. So I wanted to, since we are coming towards the end of this discussion, so Ajay, if you can, kickstart and tell us what should we look out for future trends. I mean, what technology we should see, especially from, since you dealt with a lot in the retail space. What are new emerging areas that you think are coming up and people should be aware of and a solution for? Yeah.
Thank you. Since the topic of this session is digital transformation of NBFCs, I'll take a little macro view first. If we can just dwell upon, we all know the sentence that the banks would lend you the money only if you prove it to them that you don't need the money. And why they have been so stern, or why the banks have been the way they have been, is because of one fundamental reason. The way I sense it is because of the economies of scale. But in my opinion, today's time, we are at an inflection point of technology, and the banking industry is going to be disrupted. People would need banking, but that doesn't mean they would need the banks in the current form that they are in. And why I'm saying what I'm saying, if we really look at 3 or 4 critical segments now, or data points now, or the emerging trends now, the first one is that we all see the oceans of data coming in from all sources. In the BC and DC, after COVID world, before COVID and after COVID. After COVID world, there is an explosion of data. Transactional data is available, high frequency data is available. That's on one part. Second emerging trend is that earlier we used to write codes in C++ or Java because the humans had to learn the language of the machines. Now with ChatGPT kind of tools coming in, the machines have learned the language of the human. That's a second mega trend. And the third mega trend, if we see, which is the extremely efficient computing power that is available. Now, if we club all three together, that's where I think that the transformation phase has come in for the NBFCs. And economies of scale, which used to be the competitive advantage for the banks, is going to be disrupted, and economies of customer experience is going to be the mantra going forward. So these are the transformational time for NBFCs. Now, how do these dots get connected? If we take an overview of how these dots get connected and what does it mean to the NBFCs. The first one is, now if we see that earlier, what did the banks do, or what are the typical NBFCs doing? They had a fully integrated solution. That means right from product structuring to product promotion to underwriting to recovery to operations to billing and servicing, everything was an integrated solution. But given the highly accelerated disruptions coming in on the technology front, that model is disrupted in my opinion. Like whenever a car is to be built, we see an assembly line kind of an approach. Same thing is going to happen in the financial services industry, and that's where NBFCs are going to rule. Why? Because they can then create. So how would these three dots connect, and how would the evolved model look like based on the trends which are emerging now? In my opinion, it would be an NBFC would be an integrator of various tech solutions that are available. So for example, for any lending organization like HDFC Credila has been, any lenders like that, what are the supply chain components or the elements that they are going to need? One is sourcing. Now, given the fact that the chat GPT kind of tools are not just coming in, but they have been getting obsolete in a matter of a few weeks. It is impossible for an NBFC or a bank to keep pace with those disruptive technologies. So the only way to deal with that, and that is a golden era for the tech startups like many of them prevail here and in the audience also, the golden era is going to start. Why? Because you could be specialized into a sub-segment of the supply chain of loan origination process, and everyone would need you. So it's like an assembly line approach. Whoever is good in CIBIL scoring, CIBIL analysis, whoever is good in account aggregator to analyze all the bank data, whoever is good at analytics for underwriting, whoever has the best APIs to make decisions, whoever has the best predictive analytics for probability of default assessment, those can be integrated into a component. Now, what would that mean on a larger scale? That would mean embedded finance, as Ms. Rakhi has said. So embedded finance would be the mantra. And if we add another layer to that, so how would the macro level look like for the industry? The good news is that RBI has recently launched a platform called Unified Lending Interface. Unified Lending Interface. What does it do? It is like and same assembly line. It has a platform where multiple APIs are coming in, and which APIs are already live there, which is actually the best news in my opinion, and that's where India, in my opinion, can lead the rest of the world in financial services. Thus, Unified Lending Interface that the RBI has rolled out in the pilot phase now, it has land records data, it has GSTN data, it has milk pouring insights also, satellite data of all the geographies, it has authentication and verification like eKYC, PAN validation, it has account aggregators, DigiLocker, even housing history. Now just think about it. If we are able to connect the dots, then the lender's job or the NBFC job is to develop deep domain expertise. Like for example, Shriram Finance. On the used truck finance, they are the king. HDFC Credila, which my brother Anil and I founded, it was India's first dedicated student loan company way back in 2007 when we founded it. Today, not only it is the largest private education loan lender, but it has a balance sheet of 41,000 crore. Why this happened? Why even HDFC, our parent, they could do 6 lakh crore only on housing loan? Because then this trend is now going to reflect in a different way. They had the domain expertise. Credila did only one thing and one thing better than others. Shriram did the same thing for a different segment. HDFC Limited did the same thing for mortgages. If we remain focused on our domain expertise, then economies of scale would not matter. It would be economies of customer experience who would have absorbed the model of an assembly line approach where your supply chain partners, the elements which are getting integrated into your solution, would be the tech startups. Even if one gets disrupted, another would come in and would do that sub-segment of your loan origination process. That's how I think I see it, and therefore, in my opinion, the transformation is going to be true for NBFCs, and the golden era for the tech startups and the NBFC sector is about to happen.
Thank you so much for that. You just summarized very well a lot of aspects and what we all should look forward to. But I'll now open the floor for questions that the audience might have for our esteemed panelists here.
Hello. Good afternoon. First of all, thanks to all the panelists for sharing your insightful thoughts. Myself, Pawan Goyal. My question is open to everyone that when we look at NBFCs, they are actually, I will say, somewhere doing the same business as what banks were doing earlier. But they have brought a lot of process efficiency, customer experience and all. But slowly, banks are also trying to improve on their processes and all. So somewhere the competition remains between NBFCs and the bank. What are the specific strategic ways, and probably data analytics could be one of that, which you think that NBFCs can take to remain competitive to the banks and probably keep on growing their business in the future while banks keep on doing whatever they are doing?
See, if I can just take the first one or two sentences, might be a little controversial, but in my opinion, the perceived threat of the banks for the NBFCs need not be in our mind and should not exist. The only reason is if we look at unrelated industries and if we try to extrapolate those learnings, if we see the automobile industry, now the EV, electrical vehicle, that concept has been there, the technology has been there. But it took a Tesla, a monoline, a specialist to come in and capture the market where all automobile sector put together, their market capitalization has been less than only one company. The incumbent or the startup, that mindset can kill anybody. In my opinion, therefore, if NBFCs have to remain relevant or be future ready, they need not go wide, but they need to go deep into the expertise that they have and continue to reinvent and reorient based on the target segment that they are focusing on. Just use different digital tools, in my opinion.
Hello. So, Mr. Bora, actually, this question is to you only. I mean, very rightly articulated about the one, what is the need of the day about in NBFC, that if the startups and tech firms can come up, actually connect the dots, what you were talking about, then like assembly line. Actually, fortunately, I have a couple of good experience in NBFC data analytics part. I mean, I work for Tata Capital and all. And also civil scoring and all those things, traditional AI/ML part. But my question is that, question to you, that when you're talking about, each of you, I mean, whether it's Shriram Finance or HDFC Kerala, you have some expertise in your own domain. And that's why you are existing, I mean, separately, uniquely. And that's why at the end of the day, your path is different. Okay. Now, keeping that in mind, now, is that it will be a generic product like ERP came in after a couple of decades, that where actually best practices are actually embedded into the system and actually everybody is using it. And the other business fixed effects actually impacts on their path later on. Okay. But at this juncture, when you are talking about a startup coming to make an assembly line, is it, I mean, if you are thinking it's a future of it, or it is now itself actually people can, because if I talk to all Godrej, Shriram and HDFC Kerala, probably I can get the best of all. Okay, so that's the question.
Yeah, so in my opinion, see, if we look at ERP model as an example, in a steady state kind of a business environment, one can count on one platform which can fit into various industries. But unfortunately, the half-life period of any product or service or any technology is shrinking. That means earlier it took them decades to get obsolete. Now it has gone down to a few weeks. Like if we see DeepSeek versus ChatGPT and many others, there are so many examples. Therefore, the concept that we just discussed, the time has already come in and it's already too late, in my opinion. The reason being, the tsunami or the pace of change is so drastic that we cannot have an option to have integrated solution. The response time has to be a few days or a few weeks before somebody else comes in and disrupts. But second, the last point I want to make is, I have conviction in saying this, that gone are the days when a generalist can survive. It is a highly specialized world because the requirements of the customers are getting segmented. And therefore, fragmentation of industries and products are the new trends which are coming in, and any business model or a value proposition which is generalistic may not connect with the digital native population or the target segment that India offers, where the median age is only 29 for India.
You answered me.
And the youngest one. Thank you.
So just to add on this thing, as we were mentioning about the fintech and startup, okay, there is only two ways. Either you fight with them or collaborate with them. Okay. So best way is to collaborate with them, and as you rightly mentioned, be focused on your business, collaborate with them and do the value addition. And coming back to the earlier question we mentioned about the bank and NBFC, we are a little bit different because we serve the customer which are unserved by the bank. Okay. Where it is for bank, it is straight through processes. Where they say, oh, CIBIL score is good, please go ahead. We get a customer, truck drivers who are not available on the CIBIL. How to process with them? So, as the analytics play a major role identifying the credit worthiness of the customer, with our experience for more than 4 to 5 decades we are in the market, we also do a deep dive of things, and we also ensure that how we can enable him so that he pay back to us. So it is not just giving, just to give an example, it is not giving we are in used vehicle specifically, not in new vehicle. Again, because there are manufacturers who are in new vehicles, we don't want to get into that, we are in used vehicle. We try to do how we'll make a kind of earn to pay model or enable them so that they should pay back. So with fintechs, we tie up specifically who provide them a logistics. So the truck has to be on the road to pay back. So we provide them logistic, we provide them a working capital loan so that they earn and incidentally they pay back to us. So you need to think about just not going by what analytics throwing at you that this person either yes or no kind of thing. If no, how we can convert it to yes. That is what Shriram do with the experience and with the collaboration with the fintechs and startup.
Can I just add something quick?
Yeah.
So just like as Mr. Prashant was saying about domain-specific nuances or micro-innovations that they have done, if I can quote about some of our learnings at HDFC Credila, we have been giving education loan to students for their studies abroad. So a simple thing like whenever they applied for the US universities, they needed proof of funds before they could get I-20. Now the traditional process of the bank has been that you need admissions letter before they could even look at you for loan process. So it was a chicken or egg syndrome. They would not get the admission letter unless an I-20 unless they show proof of funds. So therefore it was a pain point. So Credila gave them pre-approved loan. Second, they could not do, they did not have security, most of the students, but they were very deserving students. So Credila offered unsecured loans. Another issue, the last one is, like there are many such nuances or micro innovations which a monoline player can do, and therefore they could scale up and blitz scale before the expiry date of the opportunity. It happens like these students, what we found out was, in a short span of time, they had multiple things to do. They were short of time. So we just customized education loan and delivered it at their home. So if we hyper customize those loans, I think that also enabled Credila's growth to becoming the largest private education loan lender, despite the public sector competition having 50 lakh crore of balance sheet, only one of them, the largest one as we know. So that's the power of an incumbent monoline specialized player of NBFC.
Any other last question? Otherwise, I'll ask Jyoti, who's just to give her last thought on what are the top 3 technology implementation things that are on your mind. If you want to just leave that as a future trend?
I think they're already showing 0 minutes, but see, top technology trends, I think everybody is talking about AI, Gen AI and all, definitely, but I feel in the financial sector, apart from only going by the LLMs and all, we will have to think about getting some GPUs and all, because getting the data with the DBTP bill and all, it is going to be really, really difficult, and definitely everybody is worried about DPDP, and then we have to think about the technologies of, I think he spoke about a lot of security threats and all, so those technologies are going to be, I think.
Absolutely. So now we'll just wrap up. Thank you so much for having all of us here.
Seemed like the last session of the concluding day of the conference. We have had some brilliant, stellar speakers, and take above, you're part of that team. So we started off yesterday, a long, colorful journey, and here's the happy ending. We've had stellar lineup of brilliant senior professionals, starting with banks, NBFCs, insurance companies, cooperative society banks. We also had the glittering awards yesterday. So it makes the heart of an organizer beam with pride. Thank you so much, ma'am. I want to thank Rakhi ma'am and her team, brilliant team on stage here, for having done so much of, getting so much of qualitative content on stage and making it so engrossing and interesting for all of us. Thank you so much.